Okay, so good afternoon, students. I hope I am audible to all of you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let us start with the today's lecture. So we are in last lecture we have started the discussions about the unit number 4. So that is our vehicle system, and this is our last unit. So the contents of the units we have already discussed. So that is about the chassis layout, then steering system, and two things we have discussed in the last lecture. So the chassis layout and the steering systems. In today's lecture, we have planned to discuss about the topic suspension system, then braking system, cooling systems, and fuel injection system. Okay, so these four topics we will discuss in today's lecture. Okay, so let us before going to the new topic, that is the suspension system. Let us discuss what we have learned about the topic, that is the chassis. So the chassis means it is the basic framework of the automobile, and this supports all the parts of the automobile. Okay, so this is the just one kind of the foundation on which all the parts of the automobiles are mounted. Okay, so we call this as a basic framework of the automobile, and we put all the parts, that is the automobile parts, over this chassis. Okay, so this is our chassis. Okay, and this is made up of what? This is made up of the drop forged steel. Okay, and we have seen the different functions of this chassis. The main function is to withstand the load of the total the vehicle, then passenger, then luggage. Okay, and it also withstand the stresses which may be which may be developed due to the bad road conditions, or due to the acceleration or the braking of the vehicle. Okay, so many types of the advantages are there. Okay, so function of chassis we have discussed in the last lecture. Then we have seen the three types of the chassis layout. One is called the ladder frame, and this is the diagram for that ladder frame, and this is generally used in the commercial vehicles like trucks and the buses. Okay, so this is called as the ladder frame. Then this type of frame, this is generally used by the racing vehicles or the all-terrain vehicles. Okay, so I have told you the SAE, that means the Society of Automotive Engineers. So they generally ask for to design the terrain vehicles. So our student develop these vehicles, and this type of vehicles are available in our workshop also. So students have participated in these competitions, and we have this type of this frame or the chassis in our workshop. Monocoque, that is the type of the chassis layout which is used for most of the high performance cars. Okay, and this is the most used chassis layout for most of the vehicles. Okay, then we have discussed the various component mounted on the chassis. So this is the most important part we have to discuss. So this is the basic frame. So this is the rectangular is the basic of our chassis, and then we have the different parts are there mounted on this chassis. So we have started with the axle. So we have front axle and the rear axle. The axle means what? It is a one kind of the shaft. It may be rotating or non-rotating part, and on which the wheels are mounted. Okay, so I have shown you the axle. So this is the axle here, and on with this on the end one end of this the axle. So this is the wheel is mounted. Okay, so then this is there are two types of axle. One is on the front, that is called as the front axle, and another is on the rear, on the or rear or this is called as the back axle. Then we have the suspension system. So suspension system is it is mounted on the wheel and the axle. So we have front suspension systems here, and another suspension system is on the back. The main function of the suspension system is to absorb the shock during the driving. Okay, so this is the suspension systems are there. Then we have the steering wheel. Steering wheel is used for giving the direction to the wheel, or direction to the vehicle, and this is mounted on what? This is mounted on the front axle. Okay, so steering wheel, it is mounted on the front axle. Then after that we have the most important part of the vehicle. So that is our engine. So engine, that is of two types. One is called as the spark ignition engine, or it is a petrol engine. Another engine is it is a compression ignition engine, or it is called as the diesel engine. Now any type of engine may be here. Okay, the main function of the engine is what? It is to develop the power. Okay, and we'll get the rotations on the crankshaft. Okay, so here this is our crankshaft, and we get here the rotation here. Okay, so that is available in the crankshaft. Now these rotations are transferred to the gearbox. Okay, so we have to transfer the power developed by the engine to the gearbox using one component, that is called the clutch. Now when we press the clutch, so when we press the clutch, so this engine and this gearbox, they get detached. Okay, or there is not engagement between the engine and the gearbox. Okay, when we press the clutch. Okay, when we press the clutch. Now when we release the clutch, so when we release the clutch, then this engine and this gearbox, they comes in contact, or there is an engagement between this engine and the gearbox when we release the clutch. Now what happens, that is, what is the meaning of that engagement? That means the engine is transmitting its power to the gearbox. Now what is the function of this gearbox? Now whatever the power which is generated by the engine, the gearbox multiply that power. Okay, and then it is converted that power into the number, into it increases the rpm of that rpm of the rpm of this engine. So I have already told you, we have gear 1, gear 2, gear 3, gear 4. So in the increasing gear, that means in 1, 2, 3, the gear ratio. That's why its speed, that's why its speed increases. Okay, so we are taking the power from the engine and then we are multiplying that power. Okay, so that is the main function of the gearbox. Okay, now what happens? Now we have came up to the gearbox. So the power get transmitted from engine to the gearbox. Now afterward we have to transfer this power from gearbox to the differential gearbox here. Okay, so and then from differential gearbox, then we have to transfer it to the rear wheels. Now this is done by means of what? The propeller shaft. So propeller shaft, it is connected between the gearbox and differential gearbox. Okay, and this is joined by means of the two joints, that is called the universal joint. So one universal joint, it is between propeller shaft and gearbox, and the another universal joint, it is between the propeller shaft and the differential gearbox. So differential gearbox is something like this. So this is your differential gearbox. It is connected with the gearbox on one end, and the differential gearbox here using the second universal joint. Okay, so this is our propeller shaft. Okay, now then that propeller shaft, then it is connected with the differential. So this is the differential. Now this differential transfer the power received from the propeller shaft to the wheels, rear wheels. Okay, on the back side. Okay, and then this is your, so this is your what? This is your propeller shaft, which has taken the power from the gearbox, and then this is our axle, rear axle, and these are the two wheels. And this is what? This is our differential gearbox. Okay, so differential gearbox transfer the rotation received from the gearbox through propeller shaft, and then it transfer it rotation to the axle, that is on the wheels, on the rear wheels. Okay, so that is there. So this is the type of, this is the way of transmitting the motion or the power from engine to the wheel. So how the power get transmitted from engine to the wheel? So the from engine, first of all, it goes to the gearbox using the clutch. So when the clutch is disengaged, so that means when we release the clutch, so the engine and the gearbox get connected. From gearbox, we multiply that RPMs of the RPM received from the engine, and then gearbox supply its that rotation to the differential gearbox using the propeller shaft. Okay, and then from propeller shaft, differential gearbox, then it goes to the rear wheels. Okay, so this is the transfer of power from engine to the rear wheels. Okay, now the one thing is remaining, so that is the radiator. We know that during the operation, this engine get heated. So around this engine, we have to supply the cooling water, so that that cooling water, it absorbs the heat from this engine. So to do this, we are using what? The radiator. Okay, so that is the radiator is our heat exchanger. Heat exchanger means we are using the fluid which absorbs the heat from the heat engine. Okay, so this radiator, it takes the hot water from the engine, then it cools that water and again supply that cold water to the engine. Okay, and that cold water then absorb the heat from the engine. Okay, because we have to maintain the temperature of this engine. Okay, otherwise this will malfunction the engine. Okay, so engine may get that may stop because of the excess heat. Okay, so that is the use of this radiator. So radiator is our what? This is our cooling system. We'll discuss this in details afterwards. Okay, so this is our cooling system. Okay, Then after that, we have discussed about the steering system. Now, what is the use of this steering system? So steering system, it converts the rotary movement. So we are rotating our steering system, steering wheel. That is the rotary movement. Okay, and that we convert into the angular movement. Okay, so here this is the angular movement of the wheels. So we are converting this rotary movement into the angular turn or angular movement of the wheel by means of the steering system. So this is our steering system. Okay, so we have this type of joint. One is called, this is the most important part, that is called the tie rod. Okay, so when we turn the vehicles, when we rotate the steering wheel, so this tie rod get turn. Okay, so this tie rod get turn and we get the angular turn on the wheels. Okay, there are two types of the steering system. One is called as the manual steering, where we are applying the efforts, that is the human efforts, and we require more effort while turning the wheel. While nowadays in modern all the cars we have the power steering. That means we are not, that means we are applying very less the effort. Okay, and then the we are taking the help of hydraulic or electric system, so that in a small effort we are getting the maximum turn. So power steering means what? The power we are getting, we are receiving from the hydraulic or electric systems. Okay. So that is called as our power system of our power steering. So there are two types of the steering mechanism. One is called as the manual steering and another is called as what? The power steering. Okay. Nowadays, most of these car, these are having what? The power steering systems are only there. Okay. So this is our steering system. Now, in steering system, we have to discuss only one type of steering system, that is called the Ackermann steering system. Now, in Ackermann steering system means what? Now, see, when we take the turn, around the curve, okay. So we have our four wheels. The backside wheel, it remains same. That means they are not turning, or they are not taking the angular turn. But the front wheels, they take the turn. Okay, only the front wheel they take the turns, because our steering system, it is connected with what? It is connected with the front wheels. Okay, our steering system, it is connected here on the front wheel, so they take the turn. So when we are taking the turn on the core road, so it is having different angles. It is having the different, they turn at different angles. So these angles must be maintained, so that the line of projection coming from these two wheels, it must project at the same point. That means the projections which are coming from these two wheels, it must comes on the single point, and we call that point as the instantaneous center. Okay, so you remember this name. This is very important, instantaneous center. Okay, so why we require this one? Because when the vehicle is turning, okay, when the vehicle turn on the core road, then these two front wheels, they are having different angles. We call that as the slipping angle. Okay, we are called that as the slipping angle. Okay, now this angle should be that means it must have some accurate value, so that we have to skip the skidding of vehicle. Okay, so this is called as what? The skidding of vehicle. If these angles are not are not in a proportion, then we'll get the skidding of vehicles. That means the vehicle gets slip and there is a chances of accident. That means while taking the turn, the vehicle must have the different angles, and then that different angles must satisfy one equation. So that is called as the Ackermann steering equation. Okay, so for this purpose, to get the proper angle of these wheels while taking the turn on the core road, we are using Ackermann steering system. So Ackermann steering system, it is having four bars. So that is four bar chain mechanism. So AB, okay, then CD, then we have AD and BC. So it works on what? It works on four bar chain mechanism. Okay, so you have to remember this word. This is four bar chain mechanism. Okay. Now, when the vehicle is moving in a straight line, so this, see the angles between this BC and AD. So this is theta here and this is phi. So this is same. So this is same. That means this is the proportional angle, and we are not getting any type of skidding of vehicle when we are moving on the straight line. But when we are taking the turn, so the front wheels get, see this front wheel get they are taking the angular turn, and these angles get changed. This theta and phi angle get changed. Now this theta and phi angle must get changed in on such a ratio, so that the projections which are coming from this B and A, they must be in a proportion. they must comes at the instantaneous center. If the projection doesn't come up to I point, okay, so then there will be definitely skidding of vehicle will occur. Now, so what is the equation for this theta and phi? So the equation is cot phi minus cot theta is equal to c by b. So this is the equation for perfect steering. That means whenever you are taking the turn, this theta and phi angle must be come according to from this equation. Okay, and this will always happen because we are using the Ackermann steering system in our vehicle. Okay, so very few times this proportion get changes, and if this get changes, so there is a chances of the accident while taking the turn. But we see that most of the times this Ackermann steering system, they always take these correct angles here while taking the turns, and that's why there will not be any skidding of vehicles while taking the turn. Okay, so we call this equation cot phi minus cot theta is equal to c by b as a perfect steering. Okay, or the equation for perfect steering. Okay, so what is meant by this c? So c is the distance between this a and b. Okay, so this rod ab, which is mounted on the front axle, and b is our wheelbase. So that is the distance between the front wheel and the rear wheel. Okay, so c by b means what? This is c and this is b. So, and what is cot theta? So cot theta is the angle between the horizontal and the front wheel, and this is 5 is the front wheel. That is the first front wheel, and this is that is the nearest front wheel, and this is the farthest front wheel. This is the center for the turn. Okay, that is the turn is there. Okay, so this is very important concept that is called the Ackermann steering system. So I hope you understand what you have to remember here. Whenever we are taking the turn on the curved road, this slipping angle, that means theta and phi, they must come in proportion. And when they come in proportion, when our vehicle satisfy the perfect equation for perfect steering, that is given by means of the Ackermann steering system. So Ackermann steering system always provide this theta and phi that is in accurate angles while taking the turn. That's why vehicle doesn't get skid. Okay, so there are the various less chances of the accidents while taking the turn. Okay, and if these angles are not maintained, then only there is a chances of the skidding of vehicle. This vehicle gets skid and there is a chances of the accident. Okay, so this we have learned two things we have learned in our last lecture. Now let us take the today's the concept, that is our suspension system. Okay, now what is by this suspension system? So we know that suspension system, this is a system of mechanical linkages, then springs, then dampers. Dampers means what? Dampers means it is the shock absorbers. Okay, damper means it is shock absorber that is used to connect the wheels to the chassis. So here, if you see this is your wheel, and this is connected with your chassis by means of this suspension system. So this is total our suspension system is there. And for what purpose we are using this suspension system? So just to absorb the shocks, okay, while running of the vehicle, and this provide the comfort to the passenger. Okay, so suspension system is very important in the vehicles, and this make use of what? It make use of linkages, then make use of the springs, and it makes use of the dampers. Okay, and using all these things, they absorb the shocks while running the vehicle on the road, and they provide us what? They absorb the shocks, and they provide smooth ride to the for the passengers and the luggage. Okay, so this is the most important, that is the main important function of our suspension system. Okay, so that is very important. Then we have what are the different types of the suspension system? So we have two types of the suspension system. One is called as the dependent suspension, and another is called as the independent suspension. Now, what is the difference between this dependent suspension and independent suspension? So if you see this two diagram here, that means this is that the vehicle is moving on the straight road. We don't have any bumps here or speed breaker. Now when the speed breaker comes or bump comes, that means one wheel it moves up. Okay, so because of the movement of this vehicle, movement of this wheel, the another wheel also get turned. So see, if you see here, this vehicle also get turned. Okay, so that is called as the dependent suspension. That means because of one wheel, another wheel also get turned or also moves up. Okay, so that is called the dependent suspension. Now in independent suspension, what will happen? Because of the movement of one wheel. So if you see here, this wheel is moving upward, but now there is not any effect on the another wheel. Okay, that means this is independent of this wheel. Okay, so this is called as independent suspension. Okay, that means this suspension for this wheel and this suspension for this wheel, these are different. Okay, so this is simple thing. Just if you see the name of this suspension, so you can understand. Dependent suspension means what? Because of the movement of one wheel, the another wheel also get affected, so that is called as the dependent suspension. And if because of the movement of the one wheel, because of the bump or the speed breaker, so another wheel get unaffected, so we call that as a independent suspension. Okay, so this is dependent suspension and independent suspension. Okay, so I hope you understand these two types of the suspension system. So that is there. Okay, then now in this topic, we have to learn only one thing, that is the one type of suspension, that is called the telescopic suspension system. So you have already learned, or you have already seen this type of the suspension systems in our bikes. Okay, many times this type of suspension systems are there. Okay, so these suspension systems are available on these are available on what? This is available on the front road. Okay, that means the front wheel. Okay, this is available on the front wheel. Okay, so whenever you see this on the front wheel, and we have observed that one, but we don't know the name of this suspension system. So what is the name of the suspension system? It is called as a telescopic suspension system. Okay, and for what purpose these are used? So these are used to absorb the bumps, ensuring the comfortable ride. So we know that the what is the main function of this is a suspension system. So what is the use of suspension system? Just to absorb the shocks and provide the comfortable ride to the driver. Okay, so that is the main the function of our suspension system. Now we'll see how this telescopic suspension system it works. Now this is the diagram for your suspension system, telescopic suspension system. Now here this is called as the one eye means it is one connector here, and at the bottom we have the another connector. Okay, so these two connectors are there. This is one and this is two. Now this is the topmost connector, it is connected here. So this is connected with our chassis. Here it is one connector, and another connector is here. It is connected with the axle. Okay, so these are our connector one, and this is our connector two. So that is there. So this is one here, and this is our two. Okay, this is two. Now inside that one, what we have? We have one rod, or we call this as a piston. Okay, this is our piston. Okay, so this is the rod or piston, and this is connected with the wall. Here we have the wall, and this wall is something like this. See, this wall is something like this, and it is having some holes here. Okay, it is having some holes here. Okay, and then on that we have the piston is attached here. So this is the piston is attached here. So one wall is here, another wall is here, wall 2. So that wall is also there. It is also having the holes. It is also having the holes here. Okay, so this is our wall 1. So this is our wall 1, and this is our wall 2. Okay, now with wall 1 we have attached the piston is attached to the wall 1. Okay, and then around this piston and wall we have the fluid or oil. Okay, this is oil or fluid that is there surrounding these walls. Okay, then beside this we have here tube. One tube is there. This is the tube. Okay, if you see here, this is the one rectangular tube, this side and this side. Okay, we have the now see after this cylinder. So this is your cylinder, and then we have one tube here like this, and here it is like this. Okay, and then here we have wall 2, and here we have wall 1. It is attached with the piston. Okay, and then around this we have the fluid. We have this fluid is there. Okay, now the another thing. Okay, so this is head, gland, and this is not that is not required. Okay, now we'll see the working of this one. Now just you see, you concentrate on piston, you concentrate on wall 1, which is having the holes. Okay, and then wall 2, which is also having the holes, and then we have the tube. So you concentrate on this much parts only. Now let us take, that means when we have two things now. During suppose we have the speed breaker. Okay, and our vehicle it goes on the speed breaker. So what will happen? Now they get compressed. Okay, this suspension system get compressed. So we'll first discuss the compression. Now what will happen when this compression occurs, or when we are traveling over the speed breaker? So this piston rod, now this get press. Okay, this piston rod, this get press. Okay, now it comes downward. This piston rod, it comes downward. Now what will happen when piston comes downward? So it apply the pressure on the bottom side fluid. Okay, so here it will apply the pressure on this bottom side fluid. Now when the piston apply the pressure on the bottom side fluid or oil, so then some fluid will go up. Some fluid will go up through these small holes that is there in the wall one. Okay, so this fluid goes up through this wall one on the top side. Okay, so fluid will go up. Okay, because piston is coming downward, so this fluid will go up here. Okay, at the same time, when this piston comes downward, some of the fluid through this wall too, it enters in the tube. See here, two things happens here. Okay, so what are that? What are that two things? So let me discuss the here. So two things will happens here when this piston moves downward. So this piston, it apply the pressure on the bottom side fluid. As a result, this fluid, it enters through the small the holes, and it comes to, in on the topmost portion. Okay, because this wall is having what? This wall is having the holes. So fluid will enter through these holes, and it comes on the top side. Similarly, this wall 2 is also having the holes, and when because of the pressure of this piston, some of the fluid, it enters into this tube. Okay, during the downward movement. Okay, so two things happen here. So one thing is what? That means the fluid, it goes up because of the pressure, increase of the pressure of the piston, and some fluid, it enters into these tubes. Okay, see here, this red arrows, it shows that the fluid is entering into the tube, and this blue arrow, it shows that some fluid, it comes on the top side. So that happens during the compression. Okay, and then shock, and because of this movement of the this fluid, what happens? That whatever the shock is there, it get absorbed. It get absorbed. The shock, whatever that we are moving on that speed breaker, so it get absorbed because of this movement of the fluid. Okay, now what will happen after that? Suppose the speed breaker is over, so our piston will move up. Now when the piston moves up, already the fluid is there here. Okay, so fluid is there. Okay, because of the compression, already the fluid is there on the top side. So now when the piston moves up, so it will try to push the fluid downward. So you see here this red arrow. So this, because of this pink arrow, so that fluid is coming downward again back through this wall one, because wall one is having the holes. So the fluid will come through that holes, and it is collected here again. Okay, on the bottom side. Similarly, when this piston is moving up, it is creating the suction. So whatever that fluid is there inside this tube, या ट्यूब मध्ये जे फ्लुइड गेलेलं होतं, ते पण फ्लुइड काय होईल, आता परत यायला सुरुवात होईल या सिलेंडर मध्ये. सो इट विल अगेन कम्स बॅक टू द सिलेंडर. ओके, सर फ्लुइड कुठून येतोय? या ट्यूब मधून परत येईल, आणि कुठून येईल? वरच्या साईडने खाली येईल इथे. ओके, कॉम्प्रेशन मध्ये काय झालेलं होतं? कॉम्प्रेशन मध्ये फ्लुइड वर गेलेलं होतं सिलेंडर मधून, या बॉटम पोर्शन मधून, या पोर्शन मधून. ओके, या पोर्शन मधून फ्लुइड वर गेलेलं होतं, आणि या खालच्या पोर्शन मधून या ट्यूब मध्ये गेलेलं होतं. ड्युरिंग टेन्शन दी फ्लुइड अगेन कम्स बॅक. सो फ्रॉम टॉप मधून तो परत येईल खाली, आणि या ट्यूब मधून पण तो खाली येईल. कारण काय होईल इथे? देयर इज अ व्हॅक्यूम विल बी क्रिएटेड, अँड सिन्स दिस पिस्टन इज मुव्हिंग अप, हा पिस्टन वर गेल्यामुळे काय होईल, तो वरचं फ्लुइड खाली ढकलायला सुरुवात करेल. सो दिस फ्लुइड विल कम हियर. ओके, अगेन बॅक, and then from this tube also it will come back, and they will absorb the shock. So this is because of this movement of the piston, so there is an absorption of the shock. So this is your working of your telescopic suspension system. See, this is very simple working. During the compression, the fluid, it moves up above the cylinder here, above in the upper portion, and some fluid, it goes into the tube. Okay, so now we have the fluid here and here. Now during the tension, now when that speed breaker is over, so when it get tension, so the fluid on the top side, it comes again back on the bottom side, and from the fluid from the tube also, it comes back into this portion. Okay, in the cylinder. Okay, so because of the moment of these two the fluids, there is the absorption, there is absorption of these shocks, and the passenger will not feel any shock whenever he are moving on this speed breaker. Okay, so like this here. Okay, So there is what? There is one, there is one, the compression of the piston, and there is what? The tension of the piston. So this is compression and this is tension. And in both compression and tension, there is a movement of the fluid. So we have seen what is the movement, where what is the movement of the fluid is there. Okay. So this can, you can easily understand using this this diagram. Okay. So I hope this diagram is clear to you. So if you are not understand, let me explain one more time. See, this is compression. Compression means piston coming downward. Okay, piston खाली येतोय. Piston खाली आल्यामुळे काय होईल? Fluid goes up. So that means fluid is here now. Yeah, okay. This is number one. Fluid goes up, and then fluid goes in this tube. Okay, because through this wall 1 and 2, कारण वॉल 1 आणि ट्यूब मध्ये होल्स आहे, त्यामुळे त्या होल्स मधून फ्लुइड वर जाईल आणि या खालच्या वॉल 2 मधून फ्लुइड या ट्यूब मध्ये जाईल. ओके, आता फ्लुइड कुठे आहे? 1 मध्ये आहे आणि 2 मध्ये आहे. नाउ व्हेन देयर इज अ टेन्शन, सो व्हेन द पिस्टन मूव्स अप, सो पिस्टन वर जाईल. वर जाताना काय करेल? हे वरचे फ्लुइड आहे, जो 1 मध्ये फ्लुइड आहे, ते खाली ढकलायला सुरुवात करेल. सो देन इट कम्स हियर, फ्लुइड फ्रॉम 1 इट कम्स डाउनवर्ड. सिमिलरली पिस्टन वर जातोय म्हणजे तो काय क्रिएट करतोय? व्हॅक्यूम तयार करत आहे इथे या पोर्शनला. त्यामुळे या 2 जे फ्लुइड आपलं 2 मध्ये गेलेलं होतं, ते पण फ्लुइड इथे परत यायला सुरुवात होईल. ओके, सो बिकॉज ऑफ दिस मुवमेंट ऑफ द पिस्टन देयर इज अ ऍब्सॉर्प्शन ऑफ द शॉक. ओके, सो दिस इज कॉल्ड ॲज द टेलिस्कोपिक सस्पेन्शन सिस्टम. अँड इन मोस्ट ऑफ द व्हेकल्स यू कॅन सी दिस telescopic suspension system. Okay, so whenever you ride your bike, always now next time you see this your absorption suspension system. Okay, so that is there in your all the vehicles. Okay, wherever you are riding the that is gear bike or Activa or any other bike, so you will see this type of the suspension system there. So always remember the name of that suspension system is what? It is telescopic suspension system. Okay, so clear? Any questions regarding the suspension system? Anyone? Okay. Okay, so any questions regarding, or have you I hope you understood this concept here. Is anyone having any questions regarding this suspension system, telescopic suspension system? Or
No, sir.
okay, so I hope you understand. This is very simple. Just remember two things. One is the tension and another is the compression of the compression stroke. Okay, such type of strokes are there. Okay, now the next topic is what? That is our that is the braking system now. Okay, now you know what is now braking system. That is the most important part of our vehicle system. Now why we require this braking system? So here also we are using some linkages, combination of linkage and components. We will see afterwards. So for what purpose we are using braking system? Braking system is used to stop the vehicle, and when we stop the vehicle, when we stop our vehicle, so what will happen? We are converting the kinetic energy of the vehicle into heat energy. Okay, we are converting that kinetic energy of the vehicle into the heat energy. So this is your MCQ question. They will ask in the examination. During braking system, what is happening? So the vehicle kinetic energy, it is converted into heat energy. So they will ask you which type of energy conversion is there during the braking system. So always remember, it is kinetic energy of the vehicle, it is converted into heat energy. Okay, or the thermal energy. Okay, and because of that, the deceleration occur, or it deaccelerate the vehicle and the vehicle get stopped here. Okay, deaccelerate means what? They stop the movement of the vehicle or the motion of the vehicle, and the vehicle get stopped. Okay, so that is very important question from the examination point of view. Braking system, it is used for conversion of kinetic energy of the vehicle into the heat energy. Now we know that there are different types of braking system. One is called as mechanical. So here the mechanical power without much for multiplication. Okay, so in bicycles, in bicycles we are using what? Mechanical braking system. We apply the brake. So this is just what the mechanical systems. Now hydraulic braking system. So we are used, this is in cars and bikes. So for hydraulic we are using what? Oil. We are using oil there. Okay, so hydraulic systems are used in cars and bikes. Pneumatic, so that is air. Okay, so air, that is air brakes. जर तुम्ही बस किंवा ट्रकवर बघितलं असेल तर तिथे लिहिलं असतं बॉटम साइडला एअर ब्रेक्स. सो एअर ब्रेक्स मीन्स व्हॉट? इट इज न्यूमॅटिक ब्रेक्स. ओके, so these are used in trucks and buses and heavy vehicles. Okay, so in heavy vehicles we are using the pneumatic brakes, and another one is electromagnetic braking system. Okay, so electromagnetic braking system तुम्हाला कुठं पाहायला मिळते? So you will see that in trains. Okay, ट्रेन्स मध्ये आपण बघतो तिथे आपल्याला electromagnetic braking system पाहायला मिळते. Okay, so these are the types of the braking system. That is, one is mechanical, another one is hydraulic, that is using oil, then pneumatic using air, and electromagnetic, that is means using the help of the magnets. Okay, now in braking system we have to learn two types of the braking system. Okay, the first one is called as the drum brake system, or it is also called as internal expanding shoe brake. Okay, so two things you have to remember here. Okay, what is the name of this braking system? So it is drum brake. It is called as the drum brake, or it is called as the internal expanding shoe brake. Now let us see the first of all the components of this braking system. So here it is having two shoe. Okay, one here, it is one brake shoe here, another brake shoe here. So there are two shoes are there. So this is one here and another two here. So this is brake shoe. Okay, after that, this is our brake drum. So this is outer part is called as the brake drum. This is rotating. This is if you see here in this animation, so this rotating part is called as what? The brake drum. It is rotating. Okay, and on this brake drum we have the wheel. Okay, here on this we have the wheel. Our wheel is attached here. Okay, now wheel is our rotating here. In between this brake drum and the shoe, we have here frictional surfaces here. See, this is we call this as a brake lining. This is called as the brake lining. Okay, now what will happen now? And in here we have the cylinder. Here, if you see here, this is the cylinder here. This is the cylinder in between the brake shoe, between the two brake shoe. So one end of the brake shoe, it is connected with the hinge pin. So it is connected here, 1 and 2. This is fixed one. Okay, and then another, it is connected with the help of the spring. So this is the spring is there here. If you see here, this is spring is attached between the two brake shoe. Now this is here, it is named as the actuating force. Now from where we get the actuating force? Now this actuating force we get from our pedal, brake pedal. So when you apply the brakes, जेव्हा आपण ब्रेक अप्लाय करतो तेव्हा काय करतो? We have one master cylinder in which the oil is filled. Okay, this master cylinder is filled with oil. Okay, now when you apply the brake, so oil from this cylinder, the oil from, suppose this is a hydraulic braking, we are considering suppose hydraulic brake. Okay, so in hydraulic brakes we get oil. So now the oil from the cylinder, it goes to the, it comes up to the cylinder, up to this cylinder here. Okay, it comes to this cylinder. Now when it comes to the cylinder, now because of the force, we call that as a actuating force. These two shoe brakes, they get expand this direction, one on left, another on the right. So if you see here in animation, you see this one. See here, see this brakes. Now this is, we have, see, apply the pressure and see these are moving toward the rotating brake drum, and then this brake drum get stopped. Okay, so when the actuating force is applied here, so that is applied by means of the fluid which is coming from this cylinder. So from here, okay, we are getting these are coming from the cylinder, and when this fluid apply the force, so see this shoes get expand. So one here, this is one shoe, this is another shoe, they get expand, and because they expand, they comes in contact with the rotating drum. Okay, they comes with the brake drum, that is rotating drum, and they apply here the frictional force, and because of that frictional force, the rotating drum it stops. Okay, and when rotating drum is stopped, so it also stop the way, it also stop our wheel. Okay, that is mounted on, which is mounted on this drum. Okay, so it is very simple concept. That is that's why it is called as internal expanding shoe brake. Internal expanding means what? From inside it is expanding. Okay, तो आतमधून काय होतोय, तो expand होतोय. It is expand from inside. That's why it is called as internal expanding brake, shoe brake. Okay, so this is expanding, and it comes in contact with the lining, brake lining, and when it comes with the brake lining, this is the frictional surface. So they deaccelerate the movement, rotational movement, and because of that the vehicle stop. Okay, तर इथे काय आहे, सिंपल कन्सेप्ट आहे. जेव्हा आपण ब्रेक अप्लाय करतो तेव्हा काय होतं की मास्टर सिलेंडर मध्ये आपल्याकडे इथे ऑइल फिलअप आहे. ओके, या मास्टर सिलेंडर मध्ये काय ऑइल आहे. जेव्हा तुम्ही ब्रेक दाबता त्यामधलं ऑइल कुठे जातं, इट कम्स टू द सिलेंडर, सिलेंडरमध्ये जातं. सिलेंडरमध्ये प्रेशर वाढल्यामुळे काय होईल, वी आर अप्लाइंग दी ऍक्च्युएटिंग फोर्स, त्या फोर्सला काय म्हणायचं, ऍक्च्युएटिंग फोर्स. आणि फोर्स वाढल्यामुळे काय होतं की जे दोन आपले शू ब्रेक आहे ते कुठे जातात, ते कनेक्ट होतात आपल्या ब्रेक लाइनिंगला. आणि ब्रेक लाइनिंग कशाला कनेक्ट आहे, आपल्या ब्रेक ड्रमला. सो जेव्हा ते ब्रेक लाइनिंगच्या कॉन्टॅक्टमध्ये येईल, सो देर इज अ फ्रिक्शन बिटवीन दी ब्रेक शू अँड द ब्रेक लाइनिंग. आणि फ्रिक्शन झाल्यामुळे काय होईल, ते रोटेटिंग ड्रमला स्टॉप करेल. आणि रोटेटिंग ड्रम स्टॉप झाला म्हणजे काय स्टॉप होईल, आपला व्हील स्टॉप होईल. सो लाईकवाईज वी गेट दी that means the vehicle gets stopped because of the application of the brake. Okay, so drum brake and shoe brakes. Okay, so these are the one type of the brake system, and it is also called as what, internal expanding shoe brake. Okay, आणि याला इंटरनल एक्सपांडिंग का म्हणतो, कारण हा इनसाइड आतमधून बाहेर तो एक्सपांड होतोय, या साईडला आणि या साईडला, आणि देन तो काय करतोय, आपल्या व्हीलला स्टॉप करताय. सो दिस इज कॉल्ड एज इंटरनल एक्सपांडिंग शू ब्रेक. ओके, so have you understood this one? So any questions regarding this internal shoe brake? Any questions on this topic? कोणाला समजलं नसेल तर just ask.
No, sir.
Okay, so I hope this is clear. So let us quickly revise this one. It is having two shoe brake. One is on the left, another is on the right. After that, we have brake lining in between the brake drum and the shoe brake. Okay, and then afterward we have the wheel. Now when here we have the cylinder. Here the cylinder. Now this cylinder, it receives the fluid from the master cylinder. When it receives the fluid, the shoe brake get expand, and it comes with the brake lining. So they apply the friction between this brake lining, and there is a friction between the brake lining and the brake shoe. As a result of that, it stop the rotating drum, and the brakes are applied on the wheel. Okay, so it is called as internal expanding because see, it is moving from inside to outside. That's why it is called as internal expanding shoe brake. Okay, so this is one type of brake. Now let us see the next one. Now this is the another one that is called the disc brake system. Okay, so you have seen this type of the brake system, that is the disc brake system. Okay, so disc brake system, disc brake system, it is available in the cars also and in two wheelers also. Okay, so जर तुम्ही which one, पल्सर वगैरे जर बघितली असेल, ओके, पल्सरला फ्रंट साईडला बघायचं, फ्रंट व्हीलला. ओके, किंवा आताच्या नवीन बाईक्स मध्ये पण फ्रंट व्हीलला बघायचं, तिथे तुम्हाला एक असा व्हील दिसतो साईडला, आणि त्याच्यामध्ये असे स्मॉल छोटेसे होल्स असतात, आणि त्यावर इथे एक असा एक पार्ट असतो लावलेला, आणि दॅट ब्रेक वी कॉल दॅट एज अ डिस्क ब्रेक. वी कॉल दॅट एज अ डिस्क ब्रेक सिस्टम. ओके, सो डिस्क ब्रेक मध्ये, डिस्क ब्रेक, सो यू विल अंडरस्टँड फ्रॉम हिअर, सी हिअर, या टाईपचं बघितलं असेल तुम्ही, असं या टाईपची एक डिस्क असते. ओके, आणि त्या डिस्कला होल्स असतात तिथे. ओके, अँड त्याच्यावर या टाईपची एक सिस्टीम असेल तिथे, तुम्ही बघितलं असेल. ओके, किंवा या टाईपची. सो पल्सरला जनरली बघा, पल्सरला किंवा आता नवीन दुसऱ्या ज्या बाईक्स आहे त्या बाईक्स मध्ये पण तुम्हाला डिस्क ब्रेक सिस्टीम तुम्हाला मिळतं. ओके, सो देर आर टू टाइप्स ऑफ दिस ब्रेक सिस्टीम. वन इज कॉल्ड the drum brake system and another one is called the disc brake system. आता डिस्क ब्रेक सिस्टम मध्ये काय असतं, सी वन वी हॅव दिस रोटर. एक आहे आपल्याकडे, एक रोटर आहे. रोटर म्हणजे काय, रोटर मीन्स व्हॉट, दिस इज अवर रोटर. या टाईपचा एक रोटर असतो. ओके, आणि ओके, दिस इज हॅव्हिंग दी सम होल्स हिअर. याच्यामध्ये होल्स, तो कायनेटिक एनर्जी इज कन्वर्टेड इनटू हीट एनर्जी. सो ती हीट एनर्जी रिलीज व्हायला पाहिजे. सो टू रिलीज दॅट एनर्जी वी हॅव दिस होल्स. ओके, वी कॉल दॅट इज अ ड्रिल वेंट होल्स. ओके, वेंट होल्स मधून ती हीट एनर्जी बाहेर पडेल. Okay, so we have one rotor. Okay, we have this rotor, and then we have rotor is connected with the hub ला काय असतो, आणि हबला इथे नट, इथे एक हे असेल, नट अँड बोल्ट अरेंजमेंट असेल, आणि इथे काय अटॅच असतो, आपला व्हील अटॅच असतो. ओके, सो रोटरला काय असतो, इथे हब, आणि हबला काय अटॅच असेल, आपला व्हील अटॅच असेल. ओके, सो हिअर, सो दिस इज द हब. ओके, अँड दिस इज अवर रोटर. आणि त्या रोटरला इथे या साईडला, ओके, हे जे नट अँड बोल्ट दिसत आहे इथे, आपल्याला इथे काय अटॅच असेल, आपलं इथे व्हील अटॅच असेल इथे गाडीचे. ओके, टू व्हीलरचं किंवा फोर व्हीलरचं. ओके, नाऊ we have rotor, and then we have the hub we have seen. After that we have one another part that is called the caliper. Caliper म्हणजे काय असतो? Caliper, it contains two things. One is called the brake pads, okay, and a piston. Okay, he एक arrangement असेल caliper consists of two things. One is called the brake pads and the piston. Okay, and this is piston, this assembly piston, it is connected with the brake system. आणि याच्यामधून काय येईल? ऑइल किंवा हायड्रॉलिक असेल तर ऑइल येईल, आणि न्यूमॅटिक असेल तर एअर येईल इथे. ओके, पण जनरली आपण हायड्रॉलिक वापरतो, सो ऑइल विल कम फ्रॉम हिअर. ओके, आता याचं वर्किंग इज अगेन व्हेरी सिम्पल. हे रोटर जे आहे, आपलं व्हील आहे इथे या हबला अटॅच. So when the engine is running, so when the vehicle is running, so wheel is rotating, आणि व्हील कशावर अटॅच आहे? हबला. हब कशाला अटॅच आहे? रोटरला. सो जेव्हा व्हील रोटेट होईल तेव्हा काय होईल? हब रोटेट होईल आणि रोटर रोटेट होईल. सो रोटर इज रोटेटिंग. आता आपल्याला काय करायचं आहे? व्हीलला स्टॉप करायचं आहे. वी हॅव टू स्टॉप दी व्हील. आता व्हीलला कसं स्टॉप करायचं? या रोटरला स्टॉप केलं तर व्हील ऑटोमॅटिक स्टॉप होऊन जाईल. So we have to stop this rotor. Now how to stop this rotor? So when you apply the pedal, when you apply the brakes, or जेव्हा तुम्ही ब्रेक्स दाबता आपण आपल्या टू व्हीलरला, so when you put the brake, so from master cylinder fluid enters into this caliper assembly. So ते फ्लुइड इथे येईल, and now here we have the piston, आणि फ्लुइडचं प्रेशर अप्लाय केल्यामुळे हा पिस्टन काय करेल? या ब्रेक पॅड्सला, या रोटरला कनेक्ट व्हायला सुरुवात करेल तो. ओके, इट विल पुश दी ब्रेक पॅड्स टुवर्ड दी रोटर. ओके, आणि हे ब्रेक पॅड जेव्हा या रोटरच्या कॉन्टॅक्टमध्ये येईल, सो देर इज अ फ्रिक्शन, अँड देन बिकॉज ऑफ दॅट फ्रिक्शन इट विल ट्राय टू रिटार्ड दी रोटेशनल मुवमेंट ऑफ दिस रोटर. सो तो या ब्रेक रोटरचे मुवमेंट स्टॉप करायला सुरुवात करेल, अँड द व्हील गेट स्टॉप. ओके, so have you understood the simple concept? See, we have to stop this wheel. Wheel is connected to the hub, and hub it is connected with the rotor. So stop the rotor, your wheel get automatically stop. So when we apply the brakes, so hydraulic fluid, that is oil, it comes comes in contact with the piston. So then because of the pressure, this piston moves forward. Okay, and because of the movement of the piston, these brake pads, they come in contact with the rotor, and when they comes in contact with this rotor, so there is a friction, and because of that friction, this rotor gets stopped. As a result, this wheel gets stopped and the brakes are applied. Now let us see in this the animation. You can see here, you first check this one. Say when we are applying the brakes, so from the master cylinder, the fluid enters into the cylinder, and here you see this is our rotor. Okay, this is our hub and wheel. Here it is wheel and hub. So when you apply the pressure, see this brake pad, they are coming in contact with the rotor, and it will stop the rotor. Okay, and here in this case, in this diagram, you see this one. See, this fluid is coming and it is pushing this piston forward, and the wheel gets stopped. So this is our rotating rotor. Here also you see this white things. This is the fluid. Okay, you see now this one. This is the fluid is coming. Now when this fluid comes, they move this piston forward, and because of that, here the brake pads come in contact with the rotor. Okay, you see here the movement of the rotor now. So they are coming in contact with the rotor, and rotor gets stopped. Okay, so that is the simple working of your the disc brake system. Okay, so I hope you understand the two concepts now. The disc brake system, so it is very simple. You have one rotor, you have to stop this, so you stop this using the brake pad. So that is from two sides. It is coming in contact with the two things. Okay, so that is your brake pad. Okay, so and the wheel get stopped. Okay, so this is the simple working of your disc brake system that is available in the two-wheelers and four-wheelers also. Okay, ओके, कारमध्ये पण दिसतं तुम्हाला थोडंसं खाली व्हीलच्या आतमध्ये बघावं लागेल. ओके, सो let us stop here then. If you have any that means the questions regarding the today's topic, so we have discussed today the suspension system, okay, and telescopic suspension system. If you have any doubt regarding this one, this is very simple here, and the braking system. So if you have any questions, you can ask, otherwise we'll stop here. Okay, so any questions regarding this one?
No, sir.
Okay, so At the same time, you have to just on the Google Classroom, you upload your previous assignment. Only 17 students have uploaded